Hi everyone.
Welcome to Elevate Our 30s, the podcast where we talk about making our 30s the best decade yet.
Yes, nice.
Take 7. Accepted.
So, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. I've just come down from my first pre-workout in about 10 years.
10 years, really?
Probably. Maybe not 10 years, but a long time ago. It was definitely, probably 10 years. I've had them before, and I kind of forgot what it does to your body.
I've never had a pre-workout. So we took pre-workout today and went to the gym. And
kind of accidentally, because we picked a creatine, and you thought, oh, let's have one with a pre-workout, and I knew you didn't realise what that was going to do.
Yeah, it had like caffeine and stuff in it, and Matthew was texting me, and he was like, is your whole body tingling and on fire? And I'm like, no, but I drink it way more slow than you, and so by the time I had come to your area of the gym, my arms were like tingling and on fire, and I felt like it must be what the Hulk feels like when he's going from human to Hulk. You just feel you're like, what is going on? Like your body is like transforming.
Yeah, it feels like that if you're not lifting weights, and then the only way to get rid of it is to lift weights like 3 times as much as you normally would.
I don't really like it. Like I like to take creatine, and that just kind of amps up my workout, but I don't think I'll take pre-workout again. It like, especially the caffeine in it, I don't like that.
Yeah. But so I feel like I'm coming down from that. I feel like I'm ready for a coffee now.
So I mean, what I've been dealing with this week is, so I'm growing my vegetable garden right now.
Yeah. The all-consuming vegetable garden.
Yeah. And I guess, just so you know, for these episodes, I think we start with a little bit of preamble and then we get into the topic. Whatever the title is on this episode, we'll get into it in a second.
Okay.
But this is just some preamble. This isn't planned. So I'm basically in the middle of World War III in the garden.
You versus Slug.
Me versus Slug. So the slugs are just obliterating all my veggies. They especially like lettuce, and something ate all my dill recently. And what else? They like my kale. So it's really annoying. I put out like bear traps everywhere, and every single morning I go out and I check to see how many slugs I've like drowned in my beer traps. Yeah,
it takes up a lot of your time, but I'm starting to see the benefits of it now. I think the first time we had some lettuce and vegetables from your garden, I was like, this is quite nice, but probably not worth the amount of effort you've gone through.
Well,
now we're on like day 10 of not having bought any vegetables, and I see why it's worth it.
Yeah, I harvested all the lettuce, and like you do have to wash it really well because obviously all the bugs and stuff that are in there. But yeah, we haven't bought vegetables this week. We've just been going off lettuce from my garden, and more vegetables will start to grow. You kind of have to go with whatever's growing in the garden. You don't get a variety, but I like it. And that kind of brings me to the other thing I was going to talk about is, like, I think you've gotten the most pissed you've ever gotten at me over the last week, 2 instances. One was yesterday when I sprayed you with the hose.
Yes.
When you were in full workout outfit. You'd already worked out. You were obviously going to put that in the laundry and go shower. And I sprayed you with the hose just a little bit. And, like, you were so pissed.
Yeah, because there's a whole background to that. It's because it's, like, the 3rd time you've done it when you absolutely know I don't want you to. In fact, yesterday, I didn't mind that much.
Well, you didn't show it.
No, it's because when you did the first time, I said, please don't spray me with that hose.
You didn't ask me not to spray you yesterday.
No, yesterday I didn't. But the first time, I was like, please don't spray me with that hose. And I could see you really wanted to. But I said, please just don't spray me with that hose.
I'm a prankster. I like
so then
to
you
do
sprayed
stuff.
me with the hose, and it was really annoying. And then the second time, I was like, "You've got to have some level of trust here. I'm trusting you not to spray me with this hose. Please don't spray me." And you just do it again. And then yesterday, I saw the little twinkle in your eye where you knew the unspoken word between us was, "No, don't spray me."
If anything, I thought you were saying, "Okay, Violet will like it. You can spray me."
No.
Well.
Like yesterday, I didn't actually mind as much.
Okay, well, you should have
I just had to keep
it.
up the annoyance so that the 4th time you do it, hopefully you won't. Otherwise, you'll think it's acceptable.
No, you need to relax a bit about the hose.
Okay,
Let me spray you.
Okay, I'm going to spray you until you react.
When I'm post-workout and I'm about to go shower, that's fine.
Okay, good to know.
And then the other time was when I went to pull out this really long, like probably a meter long gray ear hair out of your ear.
Yeah.
And you were so mad.
So again, context is important. To realise you were massaging my temples is I was like feeling so sick, and my whole body was drained and achy and tired. And I was like, "Would you please just rub my head for like 30 seconds?"
And
So
then
you
I
did
saw
that.
this meter long ear hair.
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of just finally feeling nice and relaxed for the first time in about 3 days, and out of nowhere you just pull this hair at me, and it really hurt.
You like yelled, and you're not one to really get mad that often. So when you do, it's like, it's actually, unfortunately, I react with not being able to stop laughing.
Which makes it even more annoying again. And what annoys me more is if ever this was to happen the other way around, I think I'd probably be out the house. You wouldn't speak to me for at least 4 days.
Well, I wouldn't let my ears grow a meter long grey ear hair.
Okay.
So
Well, now you're picking at me.
I'm not picking at you. I'm just saying twice in the last like week you've gotten very mad at me.
Okay. Yeah, all justified in my mind.
Okay.
But I just have one question.
Yeah.
In fact, can you just please explain to me your state of mind, how it differs between when you're driving the car and when you're a passenger in the car? Because when I drive the car, I'm so careful to make the ride as comforting for you and for Violet and as safe as possible. I'm a very safe driver. I will rag it around on my own and have music on too loud.
Minus when you crash it with us in the car, but go on.
I've never crashed with you in the car.
Yeah, you have.
Okay, don't just make stuff up.
You backed into that pole in the parking garage.
That wasn't a crash, that was just
What do you call that?
a light bump coming out
Okay.
of a car parking space.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm very safe, yet you're on the other side pointing out cars that are braking 2 miles ahead and people crossing the road in like 3 weeks' time.
I think
So I
I have
drive even
PTSD
more
from when
safe.
we crashed. I have PTSD from when we crashed.
So how does that explain when you're driving and you turn into Colin McRae? Like Violet's getting whiplash in the back with her head shaking around.
She's not.
She is. She's shaking all over the place. You go at the absolute max of the speed limit.
I do not. Well, yeah. I go the speed limit.
Yeah, you don't have to stay at 60 in the country lanes. Like you do have to reduce your speed to turn corners. You're just like testing out the G-force in the car.
Do you know what's a true story? When I was learning to drive, my mom actually told me you're supposed to speed up going around the corners.
Why?
When you're like starting around the corner and you're like hit the bend, she said you should like hit the gas.
Yeah, if you're racing, you brake into corners and accelerate out of them, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But not when you've got a 2-year-old in the back.
So what do?
You just take it steady around the corner.
I do.
And I think you're just testing out the car as well, because Anna told you one time the downforce in that thing.
I don't even know the words you're saying.
It means that you can take corners really quickly, and the car.
No.
won't
I saw
stop
that on a
around.
YouTube video.
All right, I think
but-
Anna told you.
No, I remember the YouTube video. It was some Land Rover guy. I think I told you.
Yeah, you told me.
So what's your question?
Can you please explain to me why you're two different people, depending on where you sit in the car?
Because I trust myself. Honest to God, because of that one time you crashed, I do think he doesn't see what's going on around him.
Yet you still can't park the car, and you asked me to park it.
And you almost crashed today.
No, I didn't.
In my mind, you almost crashed.
You rallied
Okay.
to the supermarket and then decided, and then if it was up to you, you just ditched the car like in the middle of the road. Be like, no, I've got to park this big thing. And you asked me to do it.
I'm not like I can park. It's just sometimes
You'll
it's
give
going
up
to take.
halfway through.
Well, no. When I'm with you and I'm going to have to do this probably 3 more times, I'll just be like, "Can you park the car?"
That makes me a better driver by default.
I don't know. I've never crashed it.
It's because you don't drive as much as I do.
Anyway, you could park better and anyway.
And drive better.
I think this is probably going to be, till our death that we don't come see it eye to eye
I'm
over
okay with
this.
that because I know I'm in the right.
Coming back to the pranks and how I like to prank people, and especially you, we came up with like a really good prank idea. Well, I don't know if it's that novel, but it was cracking us up yesterday.
Yeah.
We have to figure out some logistics of how we're going to do it. And obviously I can't give too many details, though I know this person won't hear this maybe I should say, I want to prank my sister, just like a collar prank, because we have this this voice recording thing, and we found out yesterday that you can change your voice on it.
It's a karaoke machine for Violet. It's a toy, but we found out you can do what's it called, like voice distortion.
Yeah, and it literally sounds like in the documentaries when they do the voice distortion.
Yeah, it's like ransom voice.
Yeah, and so I was practicing acting out these different ransom kind of situations that I'm going to prank call my sister with. And this is what you get for not listening to the podcast is she won't know that it's coming. I have to flesh out kind of what I can do, and how I'm going to do it, because if she sees a UK number, she'll know it's me. But there's definitely services online where you can...
You just withhold your number, can't you?
We're going to post it on our Patreon.
Okay.
And that's a good segue to our Patreon. So if you're not subscribed, which you're probably not, you should go check it out. We're posting 2 bonus episodes a month there. So I posted a solo episode already. It's about alcohol, and, that was such a popular topic when we posted our episode on the main podcast. So I posted a solo episode there, and then we're going to record an episode for it, and it's going to be all about trying for a baby, everything that we're doing, kind of like medical and non-medical. So yeah, if that interests you at all. We were going to do it for the main pod, but I just want to be able to be totally unfiltered when I talk about it.
God, I've got no idea what you're going to say based on that.
Well, I just want to be unfiltered. I'm not going to well, it is, if it's on Patreon, I feel more comfortable. So
okay, all right.
So anyway, go subscribe to our Patreon if that interests you. It's good episodes, and we do post the video episodes there too. I'm so happy when I see we have new patrons.
Yeah.
I love our patrons.
My patrons is all the code. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else you want to cover before we dive into the episode?
No, I think that's ramble enough.
Today we're going to talk about kind of a little bit of how we met, our dating history, and ultimately what the green flags were that we saw in each other, where we were like, okay, this is the person I should marry and have babies with.
Well, it's been an idea of, should we talk about how we met and how that's evolved, and then we decided green flags was the way to get it across.
Yeah, my sister, I was talking to my sister, and she said she thought, we had a general idea, like you say, like we kind of wanted to talk about how we met and our origin story a bit, and then my sister said we should do a podcast about the green flags we saw in each other, because that's something we always talk about, because she's dating and hasn't found her person, and she's always asking, like, when you met Matthew, what did you like about, like, she's always asking basically what were your green flags.
You have to remember.
And I'm like, well, so
here we go.
So we're going to talk about it.
This is the recap.
So we met when I was 24. You were 29. So I had actually dated, even though that it kind of blows my mind, that was pretty young, but I had dated quite a bit before that. Some long-term relationships, and I had also dated quite a bit. I somehow packed a lot in to...
I know, I don't know how it all fits.
I just never was not dating or seeing someone.
Yeah, when you count boyfriends when you were 12 as part of your dating history.
Yeah, but my boyfriends when I was not 12, but was it 12? But they were year-long boyfriends.
Yeah, still.
Did you have a year-long girlfriend when you were 12?
No, I was not interested. I was trying to play football when I was 12.
You were playing...
When I was at an old boys' school, I was not bothered.
Yeah, I was bothered.
I know, but it's just funny how you bake that into what I learned from my relationship with my 12-year-old
I'm not talking
boyfriend.
about my 12-year-old relationship, for fuck's sakes. I dated all through university, all through high school, all through university, and then up until I met you. I basically had no breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were varying lengths. Anyway, this is going to be touchy because Matthew's very jealous.
I'm not. I just don't...
We've been married. It kind of blows my mind because we've been married for how long?
I don't know, almost 4 years.
4 years. We have a kid together. There's no sign that anyone's going anywhere, but we are getting to the place where we can kind of joke when somebody flirts with me at the grocery store or something. You're not bothered, but I would say we've only just gotten there.
No, we've been there for a while.
A little bit.
All right, whatever.
Anyway, it's funny to me because obviously we were jealous. I was jealous when we first were together, but then that's quickly dissipated because I'm just we're together forever, babe.
All right, cringe.
But yeah, so I dated quite a bit, had quite a few long relationships. You didn't, you had one long relationship.
So the ones that I actually count, one was like a year, and then one was 18 months, maybe something like that.
Huh. Is that it? The girl before me was only 18 months?
I can remember. Maybe it was more. Maybe 2 years.
Huh, wow. I thought it was longer.
I don't know. I don't even know now. It wasn't like 7 years. It was more like 2.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it was more than 2.
Yeah. And did you date a lot though?
Depends what you mean by date.
Like go on dates with a lot of people?
Yeah, but usually like 1, 2, 3, and then
They wouldn't get past 3?
yeah, maybe.
What do you mean?
I wouldn't call that. I wouldn't call that dating. Like to me, dating someone is when you are like boyfriend and girlfriend, and you've had that conversation and you committed.
I think dating is when you are going on dates. I think there's a couple categories. We went on a date and that was it. That's like
Yeah.
you went on one date. We went on a few dates, which is maybe you went on 2 to 4 dates. And then maybe I was kind of dating someone. Maybe total you went on like, I don't know, around 6 dates.
Yeah.
And then there's dating someone who, I don't know, you're ongoing dating, but maybe you haven't officially said you're boyfriend, girlfriend.
God, there's so many steps in there.
But I think there's like a couple different nuanced steps to it.
Maybe in your complex mind.
Anyway, yeah, and then there's like had a girlfriend, and then there's like partner maybe long term,
Okay.
and then you're married, fiance.
Yeah.
You're married. I guess the reason this ties in is because I think this is what helped when we did eventually meet. This is what helped me see the green flags.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm really interested to hear what yours are too.
Yeah, I think we'll come at this differently.
You're gonna be like hot.
That's it.
24.
It's the end of my list. But I think you probably more systematic in what you were looking for in a relationship because you probably assessed your previous relationships more. The girls that I was like in a relationship with, I knew they wouldn't last forever.
Yeah.
I didn't go into analyse like why, what worked, what didn't work.
Yeah.
And then what am I looking for next? It was just like I just kind of waited until like the first green flag with you was I just knew that I had that feeling. I was like, I've got to make this one work. This is the one that's got to stick.
I think because I had a long-term relationship and I knew deep down there was, well, you don't know until after, I think, but I think there was definitely signs during that certain things weren't easy as they should have been. Okay, here's a question for you. Do you think you have multiple potential like soulmates or people you could have gotten married and had a life with? Or do you think there's only one?
No, I think realistically there's more than one.
Yeah, me too.
But I've only found one that I would want to spend my life with.
Yeah, me too. Who is it? A lot of it is like timing. You meet people, you might be in love with them, but the timing doesn't. I think that's a huge part of meeting the person you spend your life with. It's do we want to get married at the same time? Do we want to have babies at the same time? I think that's a huge component because at the end of the day, you might like each other or love each other, but if you are in different places, that's just, you're going to come up against each other and it's just not going to work.
Like if we met when I was 24 and you were 19, that probably wouldn't work.
That probably wouldn't have worked. No. It's interesting. I don't know if it's a sliding doors moment, but it kind of is. The way we met was totally random. And yeah, if we had met a couple years earlier in that totally random way, then wouldn't have gone anywhere.
No, I wouldn't have been ready to give up some of the things I did.
So should we talk about kind of the time period around when we met?
Sure.
What was your life like, kind of the couple months before we met and around that time?
I was living the London dream. I was just like, had a decent job. I was fucking around on the dating scene. I was going out with friends. Nothing serious going on really. Yeah. Just enjoying my life. And
you were dating like a few girls.
See, this is where when you say dating, I would go out on dates, like we'd do something, but I wasn't committed to them in any way.
Yeah, but you don't have to be exclusive to be dating.
Okay, well, yeah, it definitely wasn't exclusive anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you came on the scene and had to stop everything else.
well, not right away, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like my most flirty dating self ever when I met you, because I'd always been in long-term relationships, and I don't know what changed. There was something in my energy where I was just like attracting all these men to me, because I wasn't on dating apps or anything. I was just
You were.
no, I was when we met, but before that, I would just be like at a bar and people would come up to me, and that doesn't actually happen to me a lot. Like,
Well,
not
that's because you were in relationships before. As soon as you're not, you'd notice those things more.
maybe, I don't
I'm
know.
sure that happens.
I don't think
a
my
lot.
vibe was different. I don't think I was like
It's definitely different.
I don't know.
You were more open to those conversations. Like now, you don't even notice anybody else in your periphery. Like I notice guys staring at you. But
Really?
You don't even see
Even
them.
now?
Yeah.
When? You should tell me.
What do you
I
mean?
need this kind of fucking.
When you're freaking walking down the road, like you don't even notice.
Oh God, you should tell me more.
I'm not like looking like I notice it. It doesn't bother me. But at the same time, if you were sat in the bar and you've got a boyfriend, you're not noticing it. But if you sat in the bar and you haven't,
No,
then
but
you probably pick it up.
I used to travel a lot solo,
Yeah.
and so while I was in a relationship,
Yeah.
and so I feel like I was in those situations, but that wouldn't.
Yeah, your blinkers were on. You weren't like looking for it.
I don't think I was looking for it. Anyway, I just had this like some kind of energy. So all these people came out of the woodworks for me around this time. You met me at a very promiscuous time for myself. I was ending up seeing lots of different people. I was dating so many people, and I wasn't even on dating apps. So by the time I ended up in London on a random weekend, I was like, I'm going to go on a dating app and see what the vibe is. And so that's how you and I came to meet.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it from your perspective first?
Well, it's probably very different because
Yeah.
it was on Bumble we met.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me once that it doesn't. I think the number of people you match with doesn't go past 99. Like you can't go into 3 figures. You're like maxed out, and then you narrowed it down to 4 or 5 people that you would go on a date with. That was it, Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
In London, and then you asked Alison which one looks nicest, and she chose me.
I took a screenshot of your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, you Googled my job title to see how much money I make.
No, I just wanted to make sure you had. I'm someone at that time, I cared a lot about my job. I was very in the corporate world. I was literally there on a work trip. Like, I like somebody who's similarly in the corporate world, has a good job, and that doesn't mean makes a lot of money. Obviously, they go hand in hand sometimes. It's more, is it someone who's doing well? Like, I want to date someone who's on a similar playing field.
LinkedIn picture was awful. I remember it.
It wasn't too bad. Your dating profile pictures were awful.
Okay.
You were like the guy who cropped your ex-girlfriend out, and
I don't remember.
yeah, you had like one that you like cropped your ex-girlfriend out, and you on holiday side by side, and you just like cropped her out. And yeah, I sent a few screenshots to my sister, and she's like, he looks nice. She doesn't remember saying this, by the way, now. She's like, did I say that?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
She should take the credit.
Yeah, she doesn't remember.
I remember, so my Bumble profile had a certain level of matches. They're probably like 7s, maybe some 8s, and then you drop in. And I was like, this is different caliber right here. So yes, I'm free on Friday. I think because Liam was coming down to London for that weekend, I was doing stuff with him, and he had to make other arrangements when there was an opportunity to go on a date with you, and we ended up spending the whole weekend together.
Yeah. So basically, we texted and then we went out. So I remember that day, I felt like getting my hair blown out. So I went and got like a hair blowout. I wore this like little polka dot dress that I loved to wear at that time, and some black boots. And I just like remember we met in Covent Garden, and I just remember walking up, and I felt, just because my hair was so long at that point, it was blonde and like curled and blown out. I just felt like it was like this slow motion.
Pretty woman.
Yeah, I was just like walking down the street. I'm not super sure what you look like, because all I have is these like crop photos of you on a holiday in like a tank top. So like, I'm not super clear on what you're gonna look like. I still can remember it like clear as day. You leaning against this fence thingy outside the bar in like a green t-shirt and black jeans and your little fucking backpack from work.
And my trainers,
and your New Balance trainers. But you were super tall, and I was kind of like, kind of cute, bit of a dweeb. All right. You were not matching my outfit level.
No. I guess the backstory to that. So, because obviously when we were talking, you said you were from Canada and you were just in London for the weekend. So I'll come back to why I think that really worked out for us. But because Liam was coming down and I was never going to see you again, I didn't put on like the smartest outfit I could, and I wasn't preparing for this date all day. I just went. I like didn't even decide that I was going on the date. Probably, I think halfway through the day, I probably was ready to bail.
Were you really? Because you seemed pretty into it over text.
I was totally into it. But I think maybe it wasn't halfway through the day. But anyway, I didn't plan the nicest outfit. I just went to work that day in something really casual, and you just went with it.
Yeah. So do you remember like first impressions or anything?
Yeah, I remember you like floating down the street like some model.
Anyway, so then we basically went into the bar, and I remember we walked downstairs, and like obviously it's always a little bit awkward at first, but I just remember right away you had like this nice energy, nice easygoing guy.
See, it wasn't awkward. Well, you had like a little bit of awkwardness.
But it wasn't really.
But
no.
because I knew you were going back to Canada on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And likely never seeing you again, my guard was just so down. I was so relaxed. Like if this was, I don't know, we'd been talking for weeks and this was the day and I was like so desperate to make it work, I'd have gone all out and been so much more nervous. But I was really relaxed.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
Hence the outfit.
Anyway, I remember we were talking about like traveling, and you were like amazed at where I'd been traveling to.
I remember you talking to at this point. So I was like barely broken out of Birmingham.
Yeah.
I've been to like a couple of cities and some trips in Europe, and then you were talking about all these. So you came from an exotic place and you travelled to all these exotic places. Like, wow, what a life! And you're 24.
Yeah.
So that was one of the green flags. Was you just done so much and you were so interesting, had so many stories to tell. You were just like so different to anyone that I'd met before. It was really exciting.
Like first impressions was, very easygoing and nice. That was a huge green flag. Like you were super tall, and you are super tall still.
Thanks.
And that's just, I am a tall person.
It was the New Balance.
So it's really hard for me. I'm sorry, but it's really hard for me when I would go on a date and I'm like the same height as someone.
You're in heels as well.
And I like to wear heels a lot, especially at that time. Kind of that whole night, we just kind of bar hopped, went from one bar to the next bar to the next bar. And we were just having so much fun. And like, I can't even remember what we were chatting about, probably because we were wasted. But
no, I only really remember the first bar we went into, and you telling me about all the places you'd visited, and the bar at the end, which was probably 3 or 4 bars later. And we're just like standing on the street shooting the shit, starting to get a little bit tipsy.
Yeah.
And then we decided where to go next.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was just like this absolute smoke show floating down the road from this exotic place. It felt like you were some princess in a Disney movie and I was the pauper that you were giving some charitable time to.
So we ended up spending the whole weekend together, long story short. And we ended up going to like a house party, and we did end up meeting up with your brother. So when I was writing down the green flags and the red flags, I don't think there were any red flags. It was just icks. Little icks that I had.
There were definite red flags. Well, okay, maybe I'd call it. I know what you're going to say. Go on.
Okay, so should I just start going through my list, or do you want to start?
Yeah, is this your list of red flags?
I'll go through both. So,
okay.
And then the only
By
other...
the way, just so you know, I've got one red flag.
Okay, well, that doesn't impact my list.
Go on.
So, it was kind of funny because I was like, I don't know, do I like this guy? And then we would spend the day together and I'd like really like you, and I don't know, you just grabbed my hand and we held hands all day like we were boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, I was desperate to get there as quickly as I could. It's so weird. Like, you had like however many other things going on, and I was just one of them in the mix.
Yeah.
I probably had. I did have other things going on as well, but that was in Pool B.
Yeah.
And then you're up here in the Champions League, just like this different thing going on. I was like, okay, all attention here.
Well, I don't know. I think you got there. I think over the weekend you didn't know if we'd ever see each other again. So I basically left for my flight back home, and I texted you after the flight, and I basically was like, couldn't stop thinking about you, and so I texted you after and said something to that effect.
I was obviously happy you actually text. I thought you could just drift off into the sunset and never see you again. But then pretty quick we were like planning trips halfway across from where we both live to see each other.
Oh,
again.
yeah.
We were going to meet in New York, weren't we?
Yeah. And I had already gotten my visa to move to the UK, so I was already planning to move there. So, and I don't remember, obviously that must have come up over the weekend at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe it didn't. I can't even remember.
I don't know when you actually told me.
But basically, we started texting nonstop until I moved here permanently. And in the end, you met me at the airport, and the rest is history, kind of.
With a box of goodies for you.
Yeah. So should we get into the red flags and green flags? And I mean, during this time, I was still undecided. I really liked you, but I was weirdly confused, I think. I really liked certain aspects. You had all these green flags, but then I had these like icks that would come up.
All right, go on then. Let's say them.
And yeah, but I think something that helped me, and then I will get into this, I was literally dating like 3 different people at this time of all kind of walks of life. And I just feel like it helped me narrow down that I wanted to be with you.
All right. I don't even know who these 3 people are.
Or whatever. So you start with your green flags and red flags.
Well, my only red flag was that you lived in a different country.
Okay.
Well, that's the extent of my list.
Really? You can't think of anything else?
The only thing that I wouldn't put as I didn't put this as a red flag, but it crossed my mind, was the fact that you were vegan at the time and I wasn't. But to me, I was just like, well, we can make that work. Like, I'll eat meat and she won't.
Yeah. On our second kind of date, Matthew ordered ribs, and it just really didn't rub me the right way. I don't know. It's a touchy subject, I guess, because I'm not trying to push my view onto anyone, but watching someone eat ribs for an hour is also not what I wanted to do.
It's not like I had a full rack of ribs. It was a little starter, and it was like some little baby ones.
I know, but you don't have the best table manners either.
No, that annoyed you a lot in the
So
early days.
that plus the ribs like really didn't do it for me. Anyway, go on with your list.
That's it. That's my red flags.
What were my green flags then?
Okay, well, the first one, I didn't put this first, but because we've talked about it, it kind of fits. You were an absolute smoke show. You were on like another level to anybody else that I had access to.
You had
anybody else that was willing to put up with me. Yeah, and the one that I mentioned before was after that first weekend, I was just ready to make it work. I was like, yeah, I'll max out my credit card to do a trip to New York, and yeah, I'll move to Canada. It just felt different. I wanted to do anything to make it work with you. This wasn't one at the time, but I realised it's a big green flag now is how funny you are, which I know you absolutely love, because whenever I say that, you're like, give me examples, and you just want to relive the whole thing again. You're like, what did I say? What did they say?
If we go to something and I think I told some particularly good jokes, I like to ask you if I did anything funny, and I like to relive it a little bit from your perspective.
Yeah, you do. And you've got like 2 types of funny. You've got our kind of silly funny, like with the karaoke machine yesterday, or just doing the dog voices around the house or something. And that's when you get this laugh that you can't control, and your kind of tongue gets ahead of your teeth, and you just do this different smile.
Yeah.
And then you've got the witty funny that you do with friends and family, where you come up with some quick remarks and make some funny joke. The other one was how smart you are about it. This is just a list of good things about you, isn't it? The next one is that you do a lot of the things that I aspired to do. Like, you were super healthy, you ate really well, you did loads of exercise, you travelled lots, and I knew that you would just rub off on me and be a positive influence. A big green flag was that we just enjoyed being together. So we'd text like all day, every day, be on the phone when you were back in Canada. And then when you came here, I remember like 5 or 6 days out of the week, we'd meet up and do something. We both just wanted to hang out with each other the whole time, and we'd do a bunch of different stuff. Like, we'd go away for the weekends. We went on a couple of holidays within the first couple of months, I think.
Yeah.
We went to Greece and Italy. We'd go away for the weekends. We'd do hikes. You came to watch football. You would just do so much varied stuff because we wanted to hang out together.
Yeah.
Comparing to previous relationships was that you're so independent and like strong-minded about what you want and what you believe in. I just knew that we'd never fall into the classic husband and wife where you were a little bit, not submissive, but you kind of pandered to me a little bit. And I think that's might be what happened. And I perhaps felt like I had the power in my old relationships, and that got kind of boring. Whereas with you, I feel like you've always got the power, and I always have to better myself to keep up with you, otherwise you're going to leave. But there's some weird balance of power where you were this strong, independent clever woman, and I had to be on my best form to keep up with you.
Wow.
You had a good career, and you were kind of ahead of your peers because it was important to me that we're both on a good career path as well. And I remember when we went to your grandparents for the first time, and you just like kicked off this debate with your grandparents about the Chinese impact on the US economy and what are the native homes called? Not the homes, the schools, the residential schools.
Yeah, residential schools.
And I was just like sat there listening to this debate going on. I was like, we don't do this. We don't do this at home. You know stuff, and you showed that you know all about nutrition of foods, and you were a good cook, and it just seems like anything we talked about, you knew more than surface level. So you're pretty well rounded.
Oh God, you are lucky.
I know. Is that end of podcast? Is this just me pouring my heart out?
Are you done?
Yeah, that's it. That's all you're good for.
Okay. So mine were, so you had this like fun, super lighthearted energy. You were, super easygoing, like go with the flow and very in the moment. Especially, this was throughout, but on our first date, I remember basically something happened and you were like, all right, we've got 3 options. We can go to the pub, we can go to more bars, we can go to this house party, or we can like go back to my place and watch movies. You were just like very go with the flow. You got some fun options on the table, which I had dated a lot of people who were, I don't know, very serious and I'm the man. And you were just like, there was no ego. You're just fun guy and like really easy and in the moment. And it's such a good energy to be around.
So it's like therapy, isn't it?
Well, not really. Obviously, you had a good job, which was just like a nice little tick. You paid for the first date, which I liked. I think that obviously this depends on who you are, but I'm happy to pay for things. But I think like the first couple dates, it's good for the guy to pay.
And by paid, put on top of my crippling credit card debts. You mean?
Still. And that's kind of funny is you literally went into credit card debt, paying for dates, doing these like nice trips that you paid for. And the way you described it is you saw it as an investment into our relationship.
Well, it is. You wouldn't have hung around if I didn't impress you.
Yeah. I don't know. I probably would have. I obviously didn't know the situation. Because in the end, we both paid off your credit card debt.
Yeah. Because it was when we had that conversation when we were talking about your engagement ring.
Yeah.
Didn't we? And do you want to tell that or not?
Yeah. It's more you than me.
Right, well, anyway, so you told me you told me what kind of engagement ring you wanted, and I remember looking at it on the Tiffany's website.
Yeah.
And it was something like 120 grand. And I was like, so then I remember I was walking around Wandsworth Common or something. So I need to tell you some stuff. And I was like, I want to get you the engagement ring that you want. I've got some debts to pay off as well. I'm going to have to get a pretty big loan for this, and it's going to seriously impact my disposable income for the foreseeable future. And then you had the best...
you were like, but I'm willing to do that. I just want to tell you because we're going to get married.
Yeah. So I was willing to do it, and then you had the best response, and we're like, okay, let's split it. We'll pay for it together.
Yeah.
And it's not the 120 grand ring, by the way. I just got that wrong. It's still an expensive ring, but it's not much. So we got a loan out together, and we paid for it all, didn't we?
It was so funny because you were so nervous to tell me about your debts and stuff, and
because you had nice designer clothes, you went out to you knew the nice restaurants in London. I remember thinking, you must come from money. I thought you were rich, but just didn't pay for anything.
Really? I've never gotten a cent from anyone.
I thought you were rich, and I needed to be rich to date you as well.
Even at that point? Not at that point.
No. When we were able to have that conversation about the debts and stuff, but definitely early on, I felt like I had to up my game and spend some money.
Yeah. No, I come from no money, and I pay for everything myself. Just to clear that up.
Well, you didn't to start with. But anyway.
What do you mean?
Well, I paid for the first date and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying in general, like, I don't... You do. But that was a green flag too. You literally first of all, you went into debt to pay for dates because you saw it as an investment. I think it's a little bit old school probably. You literally were like, I want to make this work so bad that I'm going to do all this stuff, put it on my credit card, and I'm gonna figure that out later.
Yeah, got a lifetime to pay it off.
Yeah. And then same with the engagement ring. I think a lot of guys would be like, "Oh, no, I'm not spending like a bunch of money on an engagement ring. Are you fucking kidding me?" Whereas you were like, okay, I've already got some crippling debts. I'm going to add this to that. I just want to let you know that's the situation because you are going to marry into this.
This will impact you at some point. Yeah.
And I was like, obviously, first of all, that's fine. And second of all, obviously I'll pay for it with you. Like all our money is shared at this point. Yeah. Like, a lot of guys don't even want to get married. They're like, I'm not getting engaged. Like whereas we were talking about getting engaged like 6 months into meeting, less than that, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So that was a great
fight. We got engaged after 11 months.
Yeah, I got the ring after 11 months. We bought the ring together 6 months in.
Oh yeah, we got our tattoos in November.
And we got tattoos together in November.
Yeah.
So back to the green flags. We had a really good chemistry over text. We were just always on the phone, always texting. You had a sense of humor. I mentioned that you were very tall. When we first started talking, I felt like I was the only person you liked. Like we were texting so much. And I think this comes into like women have an intuition about if someone's into them. And sometimes we try to convince ourselves of stories. But with you, it was just like, clearly you were into me and that was a nice feeling. Yeah, except for one point in that time. And I was right about that. Like you were seeing someone else.
Yeah.
And it's just, I only bring that up to say I had a feeling because we didn't text that weekend where you saw someone else. And I had a feeling.
When you were in Canada?
Yeah.
And I was with someone else?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you did the same thing for the record.
No, I did the same thing. But I'm just saying, I could tell that you really liked me and were only talking to me. And when you didn't, for that one weekend, I had a feeling too.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just, that was a green flag. Like I didn't have any worries.
Yeah.
Oh, I kept coming back to you. Like, as I said, I was dating lots of different people, talking to lots of different people. But like I would come back from those dates and want to call you. Like I almost felt
yeah, that's weird.
I just felt like it wasn't giving me the same thing that like
that's nice.
I had spent a weekend somewhere and like as soon as I got in the car to go to the airport, I called you.
Well, yeah, you told me you were going to where it was. I knew you were going. You said you were going to see friends.
Yeah.
And it kind of was, but you were seeing someone there as well.
Yeah.
And you go quiet for periods.
Yeah.
But I just thought you were out having fun.
Yeah, and I was. Yeah. But like, I had come out of a long-term relationship, so I wanted to date. I didn't want to get into another long-term relationship.
That's one of the things that you didn't resist, but you didn't want a boyfriend.
No.
Whenever I tried to, because I tried a few times. I remember one time I asked you to be my girlfriend, and I think you said
it was in Venice. In Italy, you were like, "Will you be my girlfriend?" And I was kind of like, "No, not right now." Yeah,
you basically, and I swear you said something about you should have a gift. There shouldn't be a gift involved.
I didn't say that.
So why did something happened? And because the next time I asked, or 3 times later, no, I think so. I asked a couple more times, and then you said, "Okay, here's the deal. There's 3 things that are stopping me." Like fully committing. The first one is you smoking, which I was like.
Matthew used to closet smoke. He would show up, and I'd be like, he smells like cigarettes, but he'd also smell like cigarettes covered with gum.
Yeah.
And then we'd kiss. I'm someone who's so healthy. I don't like smoking. I don't even like being around people who.
But you also said you quite liked it, weirdly.
I don't recall that.
Right. Anyway, so that was the first one.
I was like, you can't be smoking. And you were like, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, you do. And you're like, okay, yes, I do on occasion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you smoke every time I've come in contact with you. You're like, okay, yes, I guess I do that. Like,
that was one. You said you have to stop smoking. The second was you have to go vegan because I would eat vegan when I was with you, but you like 99% of the time, apart from rib episode. Anyways, that was 2. And the third one was like, you said, I don't really want a boyfriend. I just want to be single and enjoy my life for a while. I just moved to London. And I kind of got that. But you did say I could get over it. And then...
It was mainly the vegan thing and can you stop smoking? Yeah. And the vegan thing was a huge ask. But I just realized it had changed for me. I used to not care. And then... Like, obviously, it started with the ribs on our second date. And there was just a few things where I was like, this really gives me the ick, I've realized. And obviously, you can't date someone who you have the ick for. Mm-hmm. And so I just was like, sorry, it just is a thing for me, I guess. And you did it. So obviously, that was a huge green flag. Hold,
So the fact that I gave those up was a green flag as well.
that was a huge green flag, yeah. Because obviously, it's like, I think all along the way, and I'll get into the Icks / red flags, but all along the way, I had these little things that I was like, ah. But then you would just change them and never look back. Like, you just quit smoking and never look back because I asked you to.
Yeah.
So,
well, I wanted to quit smoking anyway. That was just the impetus to do it.
Yeah, well, you were in denial, obviously.
Well, yeah, I was trying to stop as well, though.
Yeah. Okay, let me get through these. So yeah, I put you were persistent. Like, you wanted to be exclusive boyfriend girlfriend, and I held off for a couple months, and you were like persistent. You kept asking me.
Yeah, so to buy you a diamond necklace.
And then it's so tiny. And then eventually you would make a big deal out of things. So like dates and things, like when you officially asked me to be your girlfriend, and I think you knew I'd say yes at that point.
Yeah.
It was in Wales. We went to the top of Snowdon. You gave me a little teeny tiny diamond necklace.
Teeny tiny.
It is. It's teeny tiny.
It was still about 400 quid.
Okay. And you asked me to be your girlfriend.
That was quite the gamble, given that you could knock me back 4 times in a row. I'm like, right, I'm going to throw 400 quid at this, see if it does the trick.
Just like every kind of anniversary and stuff, you always made a big deal out of it. And then when we got engaged, this is another time where Matthew goes into debt over something, but he like booked this like town car to take us to a helicopter pad that took us to the top of these mountains, and then you proposed and like
with a photographer,
and then you like booked this like really nice bar after, though you didn't realize that it was kind of like a club bar, so it was kind of, there was people like club dancing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people on drugs in that bar.
Yeah. With
a big bouquet of flowers and my engagement speech written out in fountain pen.
Yeah.
What's it called?
You got an event
writing
planner to help you with the proposal.
Well, so I didn't know anyway in Vancouver. I'd never been before.
Yeah. You went all out. I hope this inspires you to be more that guy now. You still are that guy, but like obviously you don't go to that effort for me now.
Well, no, I don't.
Like
clearly.
We can't go into debt over
exactly. That's the thing that makes it difficult now, and probably something we want to figure out at some point. Is like our finances are just completely open.
Yeah, like openly shared.
Yeah, and we've got very clear goals of what we're trying to do over the long term. Yeah. So just carving out a big chunk of money is quite difficult. And you probably wouldn't want me to spend it on that. You prefer to do up the bathroom now.
No, it's true. But I think there's still ways. Okay, let me quickly do the Icks. Let me get through these because I think this is where my sister is always really interested because she's like, meets these guys and then she quickly swipes them away because she has an ick for them.
Okay.
And I'm always like, Allison, like I got through a lot with Matthew and worth the pursuit kind of thing. So you did make me pay for the second date.
I knew that annoyed. Wait, what second date?
Like on that weekend we hung out. Like we went the first night you paid, but the second night I paid for your ribs.
Yeah, I'm sure there would have been a reason for that.
I did offer because I think it's fair, but I think you should have said no. I
think we had a conversation. Maybe we wouldn't have had that at some point. There would have been a reason because I would just pay for freaking everything. There was a reason I was in so much debt, and that's because even if I go out with my friends, I'd like go over the top to try and spend money on people. Yeah. There would have been a reason you paid for it. I wouldn't just.
Well, yeah, I offered, and you said, "Oh, okay, sure."
All right, seems weird, but fair enough.
Yeah, you probably were like, this is like a 1 weekend ordeal with this chick, and I'm not gonna see her again.
It's probably the restaurant you made us go to.
Oh, yeah. You brought Subway back to my hotel room and ate it in bed at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was disgusting.
Again, you approved that.
I don't think so. And that's come up again. I remember when at your friend's wedding recently in Ireland, you brought an entire pizza back. I was in the room with our baby because she was like 3 months old at the time. So we came back early and you stayed out and got drunk, which is fine. This was before we quit drinking.
Yeah, this is like 5 years later.
And no, this was like 2 years ago. And you brought an entire pizza back into this one-room hotel room. The whole room just smelled like a pizza factory. And I was like, get that away from our bed. Like, we're asleep. Go away. And so then you went into it was this weird black tiled bathroom with no windows. So you went into this bathroom and you got lost. And you had this pizza in there. And
did I sleep in there?
For
or
a
did you
while.
save me? I couldn't find the door. I just absolutely gave up and slept on the tiled floor.
And I went to the bathroom in the morning, and this pizza's just like in the bathtub.
You wait till the next day though.
Anyway, and then so that was a ick for me. Oh, when I went back to Canada, I like forgot what you looked like, and any photos you sent me were super weird. So you just had a weird selfie game where
I didn't have a selfie. I'd like never take. I remember when you asked me to send a selfie. I was like, I don't even know how to do this.
yeah, and they didn't look good, and so I kind of forgot what you looked like, and I was very like when I was gonna be meeting you at the airport coming back, I was like, what does this guy look like? Like I kind of forget, and
That's so weird to me.
it's weird that I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you saw constant photos of me
I
while.
remember what you look like.
Yeah, but you saw constant photos of me. If you didn't see one photo of me again, like, what does this guy look like? Like, that's a weird one. But okay, so, you were drinking a lot, and we would be on the phone, and you like fell asleep one time. That was a bit of an ick. Like you would just get wasted, basically.
Yeah.
I put a bit out to lunch on some things, but I can't really remember what I meant by that. Oh yeah. Oh, this is what I meant. When I did move to London, we had a date and we were planning to go to this kind of nice vegan restaurant, and you were like, "Oh, let's just like hang out with my brother for a bit. He's out hanging out in Camden." And we ended up having 5 pints with your brother, and I got really mad and stormed off because I was just like, "What are you doing, bro? We are going on a date. Why are we having 5 pints with your brother beforehand?" That's where you were just like a bit out to sea on some things.
Out to sea now. I'm further away.
That's all. And I also put your clothes, like some of your outfits were like the backpack and the New Balances.
You've completely redesigned my wardrobe,
Yeah.
basically.
I mean, but overall, they do say the nice guy wins, and I think that you're a good example of that. You're just like a nice, solid guy, and based on your list, I think you won.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like you won?
Yeah, I do.
Wow, not convinced.
No, I do. I guess that's still some insecurity, though. I don't like that just being a nice guy is the only reason you're with me. Like,
I'm
that
not,
just feels like
I just made a
you'll find someone more
whole.
interesting.
I made a whole green flags list.
All right.
I know Matthew
list.
has a real insecurity about like being a nice guy, which is so.
I just don't feel like that's enough. That's not exciting.
There's a whole list of stuff.
Right.
Oh, and I think another thing I didn't really mention is I think just dating someone who was more similar in age to me. Like I kind of dated a whole range of people my age, people a lot older than me, people more close to your age, but we were just in a similar vibe of like what we wanted to do in life, like have kids and get married.
It was good timing.
But it also like we could have so much fun together and we could be so silly together. I don't know, we can go get groceries and it's like hanging out with your best friend.
Yeah, until you spray me with the hose.
Exactly. But even stuff like that, I'm just like cracking up still and you're like getting mad and I'm like making fun of you a little bit and like we just have a really good
we bounce off each other.
Yeah, and like it's like just hanging out with my best friend all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's rare, but I think it's when you're spending your life with someone, I think that's really important. Like obviously we had that initial where we were obsessed with each other and stuff. And obviously that fades and comes back and fades. You can never sustain that excitement for your whole life because
too much credit card debt.
too much. But the best friend part of it and where you have fun together and where you can get excited about an idea together and then like grow together doing it kind of thing. Like learn something new together, start a podcast together. That's the part that I think is important and has been huge in this relationship and different from anything else I experienced. And that's why, you see these things after you've dated a bit.
Yeah,
because
that's so true. Because like when I was going out with other people, going out with my friends was probably more interesting. That's what I'd want to do more. But now I just want to hang out with you all the time. And even like in those early days, I would never have turned my friends down for a girl at that point.
Yeah. All right, this episode is way too long. I hope it was interesting. I always like to hear a little bit of backstory about people and I don't know.
Wait, there's one that I forgot that I think is... It's not on your list, but I think it's a weird coincidence for both of us. I've never actually told you before. So there was like a weird part of my brain that probably from watching TV always thought that it would be easier. I would end up with some American girl.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought if it fails in the... Because American girls think British guys are cute, and you can get to the next caliber of girl if you go to America as a British person.
You're basically like the holiday guy.
Yeah, okay, I forget the film, but yeah, exactly. And somehow you always knew that you would want you'd end up with a British guy.
I more so... First of all, you were the third British guy I dated.
The third?
Yeah.
Okay, you can tell me about who the other ones were then.
And so it wasn't novel to me, which I think it's not like you were the first British guy I'd ever met or dated, and I was like, oh my God,
it was
your
somehow
accent.
in your path though.
But, well, no, more so what was in my path is I wanted to live in London, and like obviously by default you're going to probably date a British person if you live in the UK. So yeah, it was more like that for me. I wasn't like... But yeah, that is funny. Yeah.
It's quite funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
All right. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.